Welcome back, folks. We're going to do one of the most amazing sessions of the whole conference now. It's the lightning talks. Like I said this morning, lightning talks are very fast talks, fast as lightning.
Let's start with the conference announcements.
Hello, I'm Esther. I am one of the organizers of PyCon Italia that is happening next year. You just missed the last one, but there are video online. In the next edition is in Bologna next year from the 27th to 30th. Is going to be 3 days of talk, 6 tracks and workshop and beginners workshop day as well. In this big venue, we have more than 1,000 attendees. So it's a good opportunity for sponsors. So if you are interested, please let us know and talk with me. And yeah, there is the website and we have a pool. So you can watch the streaming that is free by default. So it's going to be cool. See you there.
Yes, hi, and I'm Aris. I'm one of the organizers from PyCon Sweden, and I would like to invite you to a small trip there, about 2,500 kilometers north. The conference is happening on the 30th and 31st of October. The call for proposals is still open, so you have 2 more days to submit your proposal, and there might be an extension. And this year is a Halloween edition, so there may or may not be a Halloween theme party after the conference. So hope to see some of you in Stockholm.
Hi, my name is Maria Jose. I am one of the organizers of PyLadiesCon. PyLadiesCon is an online conference. It's 24 hours conference. Going to happen in December. The schedule gonna be and the talk's gonna be announced very soon. And of course, if you want to contribute in some way, here is the QR, and we're very welcome. And I hope see you all of you there. See you.
Awesome. So a big round of applause for all of our conference organizers. Let's give them a round of applause. Yes. Okay. So first up is going to be Viraj, and his talk is called Large Concept Models, Faster and Better AI. And Hugo, you're next.
Hello, esteemed AI folks and Python developers. I'm Viraj Sharma. So today I'm going to present a very interesting topic called large concept models. So raise your hands who are aware of this technology. So very less people. So I'll explain it to you. Large concept model. Before explaining you, let me introduce myself. I'm a Python developer and a tech enthusiast. I've been coding since 4 years, and I've been an active tech community member since 1 year. I study in grade 9 Presidium School, Delhi, India, and I've been giving speeches like this in many conferences. So before explaining you this large concept model technology, let me explain you what are large language models. There were a lot of, you might be knowing what are large language model. Let me explain you how do they operate. So, for example, we take input I love coding in. So it first tokenizes the input I love coding in. Let me explain you how does large language model tokenize the sentences. It basically breaks it into different words, and then after tokenizing it encodes them into its numbers, like I is encoded to 40 and love is encoded to 302 and so on. And let me tell you how do they encode the tokens into numbers. They encode it by the position of the training data, by the position of the each token from the training data set. Like the I has 40 position in the training data set and so on. It encodes that. And then after encoding it, that's the conceptual processing using attention layers. It basically understands it using attention layer. Now let me explain you how do LLMs decompose the prompts. For example, this is the sentence, I love coding in Python. So LLMs first, so basically LLM pick one token and then find the relationship of the one token with the rest of the sentences. Like I is found relationship with Python in coding and love, and then the token itself. The relationship is basically the similarity in the number. And then the relationship will be found with another token called love with the itself and rest of the token, and this will be done with the all tokens of the sentence. Now let me explain you how do large concept models work. Now here the core part comes, which I am going to explain you all. So let's take the example in the LS. So let's take on the example explained in the previous slide. So this is the example. So you might not be able to see this graph very well. So I am showing you here. So for example, this is there, I love coding in Python. I is decomposed into its, so here it's not finding the relationship from the one token to the rest of the sentence. Let me explain you what core part here it is doing. It is basically further breaking the word into its concepts instead of finding the relationship. So this makes it more faster. Like I is broken into self, me, independent. These are similar words of I and concepts of it. And then love is broken into like and passion. And then after breaking, they keep combining and breaking until they reach into a final similar concept. So like I is broken into self, me, independent. Love is broken into like and passion. And then the independent, like and passion are combined into hard work. And then coding is similar to instructing computers. So this is the token. So this is the concept of it. And in is broken into the two concepts using inside and so on. And it has finally reached the concept me like hard work of instructing computers using Python. So this is how it works. And this, let me tell you what this graph is called. This graph is actually called a knowledge graph. Knowledge graph is basically representation of knowledge in a graphical form.
Hugo is going to give us some news about Python 3.14.
Hello, my name is Hugo van Kemnade and I live in Helsinki. That's a photo of me cycling on the sea. I'm the release manager for Python 3.14 and the one responsible for all the Py and the release notes. Thank you for the letter, Greece. My day job is also working on Python. I work for the Sovereign Tech Agency and we have funding from the German government to invest in critical digital infrastructure. Just as governments maintain infra like bridges and bike lanes, open source also needs maintaining. I'll tell you a little bit about some of the fun things coming to 3.14. The second release candidate is out now. That means it's time for everyone to test it and look for bugs. If you find a bug now, we can get that fixed before the big release in October, which helps everyone. And you might find some places in your code to update as well, which helps you. One of the exciting new things in 3.14 is template strings. T strings are a generalization of F strings. Their syntax is just like F strings, but with a T prefix. The big difference is T strings give you a new template type. For example, here's a familiar F string. It gives us a string. Here's a T string. So far it looks the same, except we use a T prefix instead of an F. However, it has a new type. And the really interesting thing is we can access the internals of what went into the T string in the first place. It's made up of the static plain text parts and the dynamic parts called interpolations. So the T string gives us access to all the parts that went into it. An obvious use is to prevent SQL injection. The user gives you an untrusted T string and you can sanitize it before using it in a safer way. Here's another example. Let's say the user gives us some evil input. With an F string, we just get a string. Well, that's no good. But with a T string, we get the input parts. We can then iterate over these input parts, If we get a static part, we keep it. Otherwise, for dynamic parts, we can check if it's evil and fix it. And we keep the rest. And this gives us sanitized inputs. You may have noticed the REPL in these screenshots has color syntax highlighting. This is also new in 3.14. We started adding color in 3.13 for tracebacks and doc test, and in 3.14 we've added color to unit test and the JSON CLI and argparse help. We tried hard to pick colors that work well in dark and light mode, that have good contrast and are still also readable if you're colorblind. However, there's a million different terminals out there with a million different configs. So we've added experimental theming support so you can tailor the colors as you wish. For 3.14, it's in the _colorize module. We'd like you to play with it, and we'll see about creating a public API for 3.15. Let's say we want to make the REPL more Greek. We can set a new theme in our Python startup file, something like this, and change this into this. Much better. Finally, we're organizing the first PyCon Finland in 9 years this October. We just released the program today. Welcome along. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Hugo. Up next is Effa. Yeah, I know. He's gonna give us a surprise talk. He didn't want you to know the title of the talk. Adonipari, you're up next.
Hello everyone. According to the unpublished statistics, most of engineers having a memory problem, so therefore I would like to make a memory quiz as a group. I'm gonna ask some pictures to you. If you remember, please tell what's about. The first one is coming. What is this? Do you remember? 360. What is it? Xbox 360. Yes, it's an ancient brick right now. Nobody likes to use it. It used to have some red light problems, I guess. People were, yeah. Now they have a better things. What about this one? This is more local. Huh? What is this? Yes, I actually checked the lyrics of this song. It's so nice. It's like a love letter to Python. I'm gonna read it. I already prepared. It's like, you're my lover, undercover, you're my secret passion, and I have no another. Like, it's like a Python developer who dedicates this song to Python. Maybe we can sing together, or it's too much. Let's try. I like to do stupid things. So we're gonna say, you're my lover, undercover, your secret passion, and I have no other. Then we're gonna scream Python. Okay? 3, 2, 1. You're my lover, undercover. You're my secret passion, and I don't know other. Python. Yes. So Helena from Greece actually won Eurovision in okay, I'm not gonna say. Up. So what about this one? Lost. Yes, it was viral. I hated the end, to be honest, but it was super addictive TV series. And what about this one? Do you remember this? Maybe it's Internet Explorer 6, I don't know. But maybe you guess, what is the common thing with which 4 of these things? Any guess? Yes, 2005. You have a good memory. You passed the test. And I'm going to ask another thing, which also happened in 2005. Do you remember this website? I'm going to give you a bit time. It's a Lawrence Journal World website. It's actually, I checked a bit. It's a website from Constance Lawrence. It gets some awards about a best newspaper website. And once upon a time, in 2005, there were 2 people called Adrian and Simon. They were implementing this website. They were doing caching. They were doing some database migrations, cool stuff like every backend developer does. Then they decided to, okay, this is nice, but I would like to share it with other people. And they come up with something else. Any guess? Django. Yes, you also passed test. Actually, these 2 people decided to keep their awesome application, and they would like to make it an open source. So therefore, we could use this web framework in all of our applications. I'm also one of the Django users, and I'm so happy that people implemented this, shared with us, so therefore we can build as a community. And 2005, actually Django is created. And what about this guy? Another memory test. You already applied. Anyone else? Over there. Can I hear? What's the name? Yes, who is this guy?
One of the unique, let's say, role models in jazz music.
Yes, exactly. He is famous jazz gypsy musician. And Adrian, one of the co-founders of Django, was a big fan of jazz music. And he took the name of Django actually from this artist artist. And then they decided to donate this project to Django Software Foundation. They didn't claim that, okay, this is our property. No, they said that, okay, this is actually for public. And they founded in 2008 this Django Software Foundation. And I'm going to show you something else, which is Rails. Can I hear boo? Like boo? So basically in here you can see, of course, Rails also is a great, I think, framework. It's the equivalent of Django in Ruby. And as you can see in the copyright, it says David Hansen. It's actually one of the guys who are behind of the Rails, but they didn't want to keep it for their phone. They don't want to keep it at their own, and instead of saying to the Django, okay, this is from 2008, first DjangoCon. This is Django, and Django used in every project. Contribute to Django, give money, and it's birthday of Django. You got the message. Thank you.
Now we'll hear Adonis and teach his lightning talk. Let's vibe karaoke together. An applause for Adonis. And Paris.
I'll be beside you.
I'm Antonis, he's Paris. We do many things together, one of which is having a company. Yeah, today actually we will start with surprise announcement. It's something that we've been working on for a few months, shall I say.
Yeah.
Would we like to share more? We have done no preparation about the talk, so it's going to be fun.
Okay. So, those of you who believe that we're done with conference announcements in this conference, we have another one. Do any people here use Django in their everyday lives? Can see any hands? Okay, so next year, DjangoCon Europe is gonna happen here in Athens. So, yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be in April, and yeah, that's it. It's the first official announcement, and the website is gonna come next week, I think so, or at least a teaser website, something like that.
Yeah,
And-
hopefully yes. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And we'll see you in April, the furthest from now.
So yeah, the idea was to do an announcement because it was a great opportunity by the organizers. Amazing work, by the way. Thanks a lot for doing all this, and it was one of the reasons we got inspired about doing DjangoCon Europe next year. Plus, we wanted the motivation to start doing things. So announcing it here is a very good motivation to actually put out the website. So thanks a lot for helping us do that. And now about the lightning talk. So the title was generated this morning. It's called Vibe Karaoke. So who's familiar with vibe coding? And who's familiar with karaoke? Cool. So we're going to do a combination of the two. Bear with me. It's going to be at most 5 minutes, so it's going to be fast. But the idea is that we will start with ideas that Paris will have combined with you, and then I will do a karaoke presentation with whatever comes out of it, generated by AI. So it's going to be fun. I mean, we had fun presentation before. Hopefully this is going to be a fun one. So I'm going to give the stage to Paris and start doing the questions.
Okay, so let's see if there's anything around Python that someone would like to learn in this conference and has not learned it already. So is there anything additional that you would hope to hear about?
Just South. Pirate. No idea what it is.
Let's go.
Others.
Pydantic. And let's go for another one. Rust.
Okay.
Let's go.
So hopefully something useful will come out of this. It's working. Do I have Wi-Fi? I have Wi-Fi. Okay, so let's see what happened here. So, if you don't know anything about PyBrew is a new Python package manager. It's very new. You have heard of UV, and all the other old stuff, like, it was like last month. Who cares about it? And it's actually inspired by Homebrew. So Homebrew is another tool that's very, common in macOS people. It aims at making Python dependency management easier and more reliable for developers, as if we don't have any reliable and easy Python package managers. But, use PyBrew from tomorrow, because next month it's going to be something new, so you have to be ready for it. Why use PyBrew? Because it simplifies environment setup, handles dependencies, because it's a dependency manager, and also virtual environments. So if you remember 10 years ago what you did for development, you can do it with PyBrew today. It's inspired by Homebrew. Did I say about that? Yeah, I did. Then, there's a nice library that, if you dig very deep, you will find it in old Python code that's called Pydantic. And it's a data validation thing, because we want to validate data. Python is a, dynamic language, so we have to find a way to do that. Also, you can use type hints, so it's, more cool and all that stuff. And it helps you write clean code, robust and maintainable code. Why use Pydantic? Automatic data validation, out of the box. Type safe models, and of course widely used in frameworks like Fast API and other Python projects. Rust and Python, who cares about that? Many people. Few seconds remaining. So Rust is increasingly used by Python for performance critical tasks, because we are very happy using Python, so we want something miserable in our lives. So that's why we use PyO3, Maturin, make it easy. Okay, I have no idea what's that. So why Rust? Memory safety, in quotes, great for building Python extensions and, growing ecosystem like UV and other things. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Okay, Christian. Christian is going to talk to us about the PSF and you nurturing and contributing to the community. Up next is Nefeli.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christian. I am one of the Python Software Foundation Board of Directors. And the idea of this talk, which is a very short one, is just to tell you a few things in case you don't know anything about the PSF. So who here knows about the PSF and what they do? I would expect that maybe after this talk, the whole room will raise a hand because you know what it is. So if you don't know, the first thing is that the mission of the Python Software Foundation, as you can read there, is to promote, protect, and advance the Python programming language. You have seen maybe many conferences that sometimes there are sponsoring clauses that people, go to a conference and, oh, this is a PyCon conference, PSF is supporting that way. So there are many ways that, of course, PSF is supporting the community. If you want to know more about the structure, as the previous lighting talk, there is also a nonprofit organization based in the US. As you see here, we have a board of directors as well as one executive directors. And there are other components of the Python Software Foundation, which is not only this board of people, like the steering council, and also we have 12 full-time employees there. As I said before, the key activities are infrastructure, for example, PyPI, Python.org, and many other things. Intellectual property management. Maybe you have seen weird websites sometimes. I've seen, for example, the Python logo in a university somewhere, and there's like, no, that's not right because it's a trademark. And also the community support that is maybe around supporting conference, other activities, grants, and so on and so forth. If you don't know, these are all the board of directors of the Python Software Foundation. I'm the one with the long name there, but many people is around there you have seen. Chuck was here around yesterday. I think she's not again. She's also part of the board there. And this year, 4 of these members are ending their 3-year period. So we have elections. The time, of course, for submitting proposal for being a part of the board of directors is over, but don't worry about that. You can still join the PSF in many ways. So, as I said, the board itself, what it's doing is mostly 3 things: governance, the mission support, and advocacy of the Python language. Something to make a distinction is that some people confuse that the board of directors is the people that is selling in the next version. We will have template strings or this kind of things. That's completely separate. That's for the steering council. If you don't know the steering council, you don't see the faces there. Pablo tomorrow will have a keynote, so you will maybe we'll mention some things about it. But this is a different group of people trying to nurturing and growing the language itself. If we want to make a distinction, you can kind of put it in this way, like we have the PSF with the staff, the board, and members, while the enhancement of the Python programming languages is based on all those entities there. These are the people that are hired for the PSF, so it's not like, randomly we have python.org or grants going on, or we have maybe one form or something. There's a lot of people working here. And you can get involved because the PSF also have many working groups. Do we have people here participating in work groups for the PSF? Okay, good. We need more hands, and we need your help, and that's the more things. So if the things that you are maybe interested to do trademark, code of conduct, grant, packaging, whatever, you have the chance of also joining any of these working groups. All the things that we do is we organize the main Python conference, as you may be familiar with PyCon US, very large event. We also have a nice director there in charge of the whole conference, and we have a lot of grants also support. But maybe if you're reading the news, this was paused recently. So if your company is doing something related to Python and you have the possibility to support and maybe donate to the PSF so we can support more conferences like PyCon Greece, please tell your employer. It will help us a lot. As I said, you can be a member. You can self-certify yourself. If you are spending 5 hours minimum per month working on Python projects or initiatives, you already fulfill all the conditions for being a self-certified PSF member. Who here has five or more hours per month, not day or week? A lot of people, if you contribute to a random GitHub project on Python, maybe help here and there, okay, lots of hands. You can be a member of that. Also, if you want to pay, you can also be a supporting member. You can be a fellow if someone nominates you. And this is the most important thing. At least I will leave that slide just to the end of my presentation. You can get that certification there. If you have any questions, approach me and I will give you a shiny Python sticker, limited edition, if you have questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. Now we will hear Nefeli talking about the Link programming language.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Nefeli Constatu, and I decided to make a programming language. And I called it Link because Link is not C. So, why did I decide to make this programming language? First of all, it's because of frustration with the direction of the C++ language, which is the main language that I'm mainly working on. And it's kind of tendency to stick to technical debt and not really make huge directions forward and maintaining compatibility. Second of all, I'm quite fascinated with programming languages because who isn't, and compilers specifically. And it's also a very great learning opportunity for me to explore the programming language space and everything, and it's great. So some of Link's features are that it is self-contained, meaning it doesn't use any external dependencies. It's written only the standard library, basically. It's statically typed. It's library neutral, meaning that there's a clear separation between the standard library and the core language, and those two are not confused. And last of all, a feature that I really wanted from C++ and I couldn't have is the algebraic data types and pattern matching. How it's done. The project is written in C++23, uses CMake, and it actually features a custom lexer, macro system, parser, type checker, optimizer, lower, and interpreter, all of those fancy tools that do all of the work. So some future steps for Link that are going to be implemented. I think this would be better as a last slide, but it's fine for now, I guess, as in the middle before I've shown any examples. I'm already working on x86-64 assembly code gen, and that's going well. And there's also IR generation. It's a nice step forward, I think, and optimization, of course. And then I'm really working towards the end goal of self-hosting, which is writing the language in itself. That's nice. This is an example of how the Link language works. I tried to make it a tiny bit visible. I think it's fine. It defines a list of things and then shows how it's kind of functional, like how it's kind of easy to do simple scripting things. and stuff like that. It defines a list of things with some dogs defined in, and then some fruits and stuff, and then filters out the dogs because we only want the fruit, and then orders them based on indexes. And then shows that you can print debugging stuff very easily without having to do any fancy stuff particularly. So this is pretty nice, I'd say. It's pretty nice for debugging. And this is a QR code for the project for anybody who is interested. Thank you.
Next up is Konstantinos. He's going to talk to us about Death by Serializer, a Django horror story. And up next is going to be Pablo.
I need this. My name is Konstantinos. I work for Cipher, and I'll talk to you about Death by Serializer, a Django horror story. What is this talk about? I will talk about how a small line of code in a Django serializer caused a critical production incident. This is a real story with almost a day in downtime. That's why, yes, death. For those not familiar with DRF serializers, they are essentially a small piece of code that translate database models into JSON objects. Those JSON objects are then used as API responses. So imagine like a very simple piece of code that does the mapping. Why death and horror? It's actually quite strong, but I think it makes the talk a bit more fun. So I wanted to share some context on why this downtime actually was, for me personally, a death and horror story. It wasn't that big, but that's how I felt it. And the context here is important because Cipher is an early stage startup, and this incident happened back in 2023 when the company didn't have any significant revenue. So we didn't have a lot of clients. We're just making it month by month with our funding. We work with the shipping industry, and that's important for you to understand the problem that we faced. And one of our users is seafarers, captains, for example, on board on merchant vessels. Merchant vessels, for example, think of vessels that transport dry bulk, or containers. Imagine grain, oats, wheat, whatever that is. Those seafarers on top of the vessel, they live there months, and they use one app, our app, the one that we sell to the shipping companies, that work mostly offline, but they have at some point they need to sync with the cloud, with a server, and that's done by design with one single API call. Yeah, I'll pause here for you to digest what I said. A couple of weeks later, after signing our biggest client by far up until this day, users started reporting that their app cannot sync anymore. Now you probably have an idea why I think this is a death and horror story. Losing or being very tight with your financials and your client facing this issue is not a good deal. What happened? Captains started registering work hours for the crew. Imagine a very simple registration of when the crew worked. For a crew of 20 seafarers, this is approximately 10K DB entries. That's not a huge amount for a month, that is. Not a crazy amount, but what if there's a single line of code that can break the app? Just a single line of code. Imagine, as I said before, it's a simple GET API. It has to retrieve all of them, all of the 10K. No pagination. Don't ask why. It's by design. And the serializer we use is like the following. And you can see those that I have put in red. Yeah. What happened? You probably realize where this is going by this. Why? There's some kind of nesting. The app had to serialize a list of 10K entries, with each entry being a dictionary nested 4 or 5 levels deep. That was a huge JSON. And nesting with Django serializers is not very performant. The app died. 50 vessels could not sync. There was panic, blah, blah, blah. Serializing a 5-level deep 10K entry list requires plenty of memory. The important outcome, users could not access the app. The best thing about it, 3 out of the 5 levels of nesting were not even needed. The fix was as simple as creating a new serializer, which did not include the nested CFR object, thus reducing the serialization complexity by a lot. Not needed. So why was it there? What I want to get is wet over dry. You could derive plenty of learnings from this discussion. There's a lot of optimizations, like you can go very deep in the technical part, but what I would like to emphasize is that principles like dry are suggestions and not laws. In this scenario, we just reuse a serializer from a different API call, which was not what we should have done. We just create a new one and get done with it. But this is how we broke production. Thank you very much.
Now let's welcome Pablo for his lightning talk. You will not be disappointed. An applause for Pablo.
Amazing. So you may know me for my work on Python and whatnot. So you may think that this is a talk about Python, but you're in a trap because I'm going to talk about my stuff, which is the tensors and non-multidimensional arrays. This is the surprise. So who does machine learning here? Like, raise your hand. Cool. So who has heard the word tensor before? Nice, amazing. So like some years ago, when machine learning was starting to be a thing, this word appeared a lot, and a lot of people were introduced to the concept for the first time. And there were all these talks about like, oh, don't worry, like tensors sound like a very scary word, but technically a tensor is just a multidimensional array. But I'm a physicist, so I'm this kind of boring and grumpy person. So I'm here to tell you that no, they lie to you, because tensors are not multidimensional arrays. They like to make you feel happy because you understand things, but you don't understand things. You need to go back to be afraid of what tensors are. That's what this talk is about. So, so if tensors are not multidimensional array, what the hell they are? Okay, so just to clarify what I mean with a multidimensional array, I mean this, right? It's like a list of lists. People even call these variable tensors, but that's a lie. This is propaganda from the machine learning people. Like, no, like those are not tensors. So what they are? So tensors are functions. For instance, this is a tensor. Wow, amazing. This is the reality of the thing. And you will say, but why tensors are functions? Let me explain to you what the real word of tensor is, which is a mathematical concept. So for that, I need a bunch of math. So I'm going to draw this arrow. And this is when everybody starts like running away, because it's like, oh, Jesus, math. Like, no, run away. But this is just a tiny arrow. It cannot hurt you. The arrow is not in the room with you. All right? So the arrow is this blue thing. It's your friend. It's blue, right? Like blue is a nice color. But there is a problem, because like I need to draw the arrows somehow. I need to know how big it is. So I'm going to put some numbers on the arrow. It's scary shit, but like, it's just some numbers. Like it's 2 and 1, very friendly numbers. And these numbers tell you basically how big is the arrow compared to my axis, which are like these white parts, right? So cool. So far, so good. Now we are going to extremely complicate this situation. And a second arrow. Wow. So to create the second arrow, I use this super complex mathematical operation called rotate. And that action of rotating is the tensor. It's a function that has an arrow and outputs another arrow. And you will say, but why? What is the point of the tensor? You see, it turns out that the arrow is the real thing, not the numbers. I use the numbers as a way to refer to the arrow and know how they are. But I have the freedom to choose a different axis. For example, I can choose these ones. And you see the numbers change because the axis change. But the arrows are not changing. The arrows are the same arrows. So I cannot use the stupid numbers to refer to the arrows, because I have the liberty to express them in this way and this way. This way and this way. But the arrows are the damn same arrows. So if you use a multidimensional arrays and you call them tensors, well, that's a lie, because if I choose a different axis, the numbers will change, but the operation rotate, which is the tensor, again, the tensor is just rotating the arrows. You see, they don't move. Amazing technology. So the tensor doesn't change, but the number do. So that's a lie, because the tensor is a function. It's a very cool function. So for now on, you now know that tensors are not multidimensional arrays. So what you need to say, tensors are big linear functions. And if you're still scared of the word linear, you can just say that tensors are big functions. So thank you very much. That's fake.